Let me tell you something no one really talks about, but it's something every man feels deep down. The moment your worth seems to drop in his eyes, it becomes almost impossible to fix. And the truly scary part is that most women don't even realize it's happening until it's far too late. You see, your value isn't about your looks, your job title, or how much you do for him. It's about the feeling you bring into the relationship, the way you respect yourself, the way you respond calmly instead of chasing him. It's that quiet sureness that says, I choose to be with you, but I don't need you to tell me I'm good enough. If that feeling goes away, even just a little bit, he feels it without even thinking about it in his subconscious mind. And just like that, everything changes between you. He starts to pull away. You start to doubt yourself, and a relationship that could have been something great turns into another emotional roller coaster you never wanted to be on. That's why right now I'm going to explain the 4 small things that quietly lower your worth in a man's eyes, even when you have the best intentions. Because having that high value feeling isn't a game or a trick to get what you want. It's a way of thinking, a way of living. And once you understand what slowly takes that away, you can stop making yourself smaller to make someone else comfortable and start standing tall in your own true worth. This isn't about being difficult to get close to. It's about being someone he can't forget. So, if you're tired of being misunderstood, not appreciated, or always being the one who tries harder, stay with me. These next few minutes might just change how you approach love forever. Most women have been taught that getting someone to like you is about how you look, how charming you are, or saying the right thing at the perfect moment. But the truth is, what attracts men goes much deeper than that. At its very core, it's connected to how a man sees a woman's value. Not just her body, but her feelings, her energy, and her way of thinking. Here's what many people miss. Men are drawn to women who make them feel something strong, but also safe. And that doesn't mean you're supposed to become his counselor, his mother, or someone he can just dump all his feelings on. It means you become like a mirror, reflecting back a version of him that he's proud to be when he's with you. Confident, protective, inspired. And the only kind of woman who can do that consistently is the one who truly knows who she is. Masculine energy is naturally made to pursue, to earn, to achieve. But not just anything. It seeks out what feels special, what feels a little out of reach, what makes him want to be better. Not in a fighting way, but in a way that makes him want to step up, to be his best self, to show what he's made of. That's why a woman who acts needy instead of being simply available, or who creates emotional problems, quickly becomes less attractive, even if she's incredibly beautiful, successful, or very sweet. Because the moment a man feels like he doesn't have to work for your presence, a part of his basic instincts just switches off. It's not because he's ungrateful or mean, but because desire is powered by not knowing for sure, by putting in effort, and by the differences in energy between you. The real magic comes from these differences. Masculine energy is outward, doing things, and active. Feminine energy is receiving, inward, and magnetic. When a woman fully embraces her feminine nature, her calm, her mystery, her grace, it awakens something in a man that logic can't explain. He just feels drawn to her. He can't help it. And that pull is what creates long-lasting desire, not just a passing attraction. But here's where many women go wrong. They either try to earn his love by showing how worthy they are, or they go too far into playing games and being emotionally unavailable to seem hard to get. Neither of these approaches works. One drains your energy and makes you easy to overlook. The other builds walls so high that no one can get over them, not even someone with good intention. Attraction isn't about tricking him. It's about training your inner self to stop looking for approval and instead to naturally give off a feeling of self-trust. Because when you trust yourself, you stop trying to convince others to see how valuable you are. They just feel it. And men, they don't fall in love with what they're told. They fall in love with what they feel when they are around you. If he feels solid, excited, challenged, and emotionally comfortable in your presence, he starts to connect you with those good feelings. And that connection is what keeps him coming back, thinking about you when you're not there, and putting more into the relationship over time. Now, of course, not all men are ready for a woman like that. Some are stuck in childish ways, chasing drama or needing to be in control. It's not your job to fix them or change them. Your only job is to remain so strong in your own worth that you naturally attract the kind of man who is ready to grow with you, not play games with you. So, when we talk about what makes men attracted, it all comes down to this. He doesn't fall for the girl who chases him. He doesn't fall for the girl who gives him everything right away. He falls for the woman who makes him feel like a better man just by being in her energy. And the moment you become that woman, not by pretending, but by truly being yourself, everything begins to change. Let's talk about one of the most common and most dangerous mistakes women make early on with men: giving too much too soon. It usually starts with good intentions. You like him, you want to show him you care, you're happy about the connection, and you naturally start doing things that feel kind, thoughtful, maybe even protective. Whether it's buying him small presents, going out of your way to help him with his problems, texting good morning and good night every single day, changing your plans to see him, or giving him your emotional energy before he's even really shown you who he is. You tell yourself you're just being loving. But here's what's actually happening. You're giving out energy without seeing if he has earned it. And for a woman who values herself, that's a big shift in how things work between you. It puts you in the role of being the one who chases and provides, while he falls into the passive role of just getting without putting in effort. The moment that happens, attraction starts to fade, not because you did anything wrong, but because men are wired to value what they earn, not what's simply handed to them on a silver platter. When you give too much too soon, you're basically saying, here's all of me, before you've even shown me what you're bringing to the relationship. And that flips a switch in his mind. Suddenly, he doesn't feel the need to pursue you anymore. The challenge is gone. The exciting difference between you disappears, and what started as a spark just fades into something dull and one-sided. It doesn't matter how kind or truly caring your giving is, if it's not balanced with good judgment, it sends the message that your attention is cheap, that you're always ready for emotional work, caretaking, or support without even being asked. And let's be honest, a man will only put in the amount of effort he feels he needs to win your heart. The sad part is that many women give early on because deep down they're afraid that not giving will make him lose interest, that if they don't quickly prove their worth, he'll leave. But that very fear is exactly what ruins the attraction. Men don't fall in love with the woman who gives the most. They fall in love with the woman whose presence they feel lucky to have. A woman who gives because she has plenty to give, not because she's afraid. Who knows her worth so well that her time, energy, and affection feel like special treats, not things he's just entitled to. And if he's not giving back, if he's not showing the same level of interest or effort, then your giving doesn't feel generous. It feels one-sided. It sets a pattern that you'll carry the emotional burden of the connection while he gets to just relax. That's not love. That's giving up on yourself, disguised as kindness. The truth is, you teach people how to treat you from the very beginning. And if you start out by giving too much from day one, you're setting the tone that your needs come second, that you'll prove your value instead of simply owning it. And in the long run, that leads to bad feelings, feeling burned out, and a broken heart. So what you want to do instead is stay calm, receive, let him show you who he is. Watch his effort. Notice if he's consistent. Give, but give slowly. Give after he gives. Give in response to energy that is shared between you, not just to what might be. Because the woman who doesn't give too much, she's not cold, she's not holding back, she's smart. She understands that love should be built over time, not bought. And that right there is what keeps your worth high and his respect even higher. Let's talk about something that quietly damages your worth in a man's eyes. Something that often comes from deep emotional hurts, but shows up in small, everyday moments. Always looking for him to tell you everything is okay. It might sound like this: you still like me? Are you mad at me? Why didn't you text back right away? Do you think we're okay? Are you sure you're still interested? On the surface, these questions seem harmless. You're just trying to figure out where you stand, right? But underneath that, there's often a deeper need, a desire to feel safe, to be chosen, to know that you are good enough. And when that need starts controlling how you act, it changes the entire way your relationship works. Here's the problem. The more you ask for him to tell you everything is okay, the more it tells a man that you don't trust yourself, that you don't fully believe in your own worth. And once he senses that, something changes in how he sees you. The attractive, high-value energy that first drew him in starts to fade. Why? Because constant need for approval, asking for constant comfort, often comes from a place where you don't feel steady inside. And it's just not something men find appealing for the long haul. Guys are drawn to women who are calm within themselves, who can handle their own feelings, and who don't need someone else to tell them they're okay. When a woman keeps asking for someone to make her feel better, it's like she's saying, I don't feel secure on my own. I need you to always calm my worries. I need you to keep telling me that I'm good enough, wanted, and valuable. For most men, that feels like a huge weight. It's not because they're mean, but because it feels like a lot of pressure. It puts them in a role like a parent instead of an equal partner, and it really messes up the natural back and forth between a man and a woman. Even worse, it starts to make the whole relationship about your fears instead of your shared connection. Every minute becomes about easing your worries instead of just enjoying being together. And no matter how much reassurance you get, it's never enough because the emptiness isn't outside of you, it's deep inside. The truth is, a lot of this behavior happens without you even realizing it. Maybe in the past, someone just disappeared on you, or you were surprised by a breakup, or you were with someone who wasn't emotionally present. Now, you might be scared that quiet means you're being pushed away. Maybe you've been told you were too sensitive or too much. So now you overthink every little change in how someone acts. But if you don't fix that part of yourself, you'll bring it into every new relationship, slowly pushing away the very closeness you want so much. Here's the big change. Strong women don't go searching for clear answers. They are clear in themselves. They don't need to constantly ask where they stand because they know they're standing tall in their own worth. If something feels off, they don't panic or try to perform to get a reaction. They watch, they listen, they give space, and most importantly, they let men show up without being controlled or put under emotional stress. You can absolutely ask for clear answers when it's the right time, but there's a big difference between a confident check-in and an anxious meltdown. One comes from inner strength, the other from fear. If you find yourself always needing comfort, stop and ask yourself, what am I really scared of here? And can I get through this without needing someone else to fix it? Because the moment you can comfort yourself, you stop giving away your strength. You stop letting worries make your choices. And that's when men start to feel drawn to you, not because they have to, but because they look up to you. In the end, it's not about not having feelings. It's about being strong emotionally. And that quality, it's incredibly attractive, steady, and unforgettable. This idea is going to hit home for many women because it's something that often feels like deep affection, but slowly turns into neglecting yourself. Making a man the center of your entire world usually starts out so innocently. You meet someone, you get along well, and suddenly there's a feeling of excitement, butterflies, and looking forward to things. You want to spend time with him, hear from him, and plan things around him. That's totally normal when we're starting to really like someone. Our focus shifts. But here's where it gets risky. And when your whole life starts to revolve around his, you begin to lose the very things that made you attractive in the first place. Your unique self, your independence, your energy. The moment a man becomes the sun and you start moving around him, the natural pull between you starts to break down. This is because healthy, strong men aren't looking for women who get lost in them. They're drawn to women who are solid in themselves, who have their own interests, goals, daily habits, and happiness that don't depend on him being around. When you cancel plans with friends, stop doing things you enjoy, or constantly change your schedule to fit his availability, you're sending a quiet but very powerful message. You matter more than I do. And while that might feel like love to you, what it actually says is that you lack clear boundaries, you don't put yourself first, and often you don't value yourself enough. Men sense it, even if they can't quite explain it. They notice when your world starts getting smaller to fit them, and strangely enough, instead of pulling them closer, it usually pushes them away. This is because you're no longer the woman they were first drawn to, the one with her own vibrant life and magnetic energy. You've become someone who is waiting, watching, and changing herself to match his actions. And that's not a partnership, that's emotional reliance. Here's the simple truth. The most appealing and memorable women are the ones who know their life is already full. They understand that a man is an addition, not someone who completes them. They don't stop being who they are when someone new comes into their life. If anything, they become even more themselves. They stick to their routines. They keep nurturing their friendships. They chase their own dreams, and they protect their inner calm. That kind of woman doesn't just grab a man's attention, she earns his respect. And without respect, deep affection won't last. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about being steady and sure of yourself. You can be warm, loving, and open with your feelings, but you also need to be firmly rooted in who you are. Because when you are, you're not scared of losing him. You're not trying to mold yourself to fit his world. You're inviting him into yours. That kind of energy, it's truly compelling. And when a man feels that your life won't fall apart if he doesn't call or text, when he knows you're not just waiting around for his attention, when he sees that your happiness isn't tied to his mood or approval, he starts to feel fortunate to have you in his life. Not pressured, not drained, just genuinely thankful. But the moment your feelings start going up and down based on what he does, you hand over all your power. You stop being the one who chooses and start being the one who chases. And that's the quickest way to lose your appeal in his eyes, even if your intentions are good. So here's the change you need to make. Start showing up like you're the main character in your own story. Let him be a part of your narrative, but never the entire plot. Because a woman who knows she is already complete is the one who attracts the kind of man who respects her, values her, and wants to grow alongside her, not control her. This is a common error that can cost you your confidence, your clear thinking, and often your entire sense of self within a relationship. Ignoring your personal expectations and limits. At first, it seems like a small thing. You let something slide. You tell yourself, it's not a big deal. I don't want to seem too demanding. You adjust, give in, shrink a little, just to keep things peaceful, or to avoid seeming difficult. But here's what's really happening. Every time you silence that inner voice, every time you push aside what you know doesn't feel right to you, just to keep a connection going, you send a message first to him, but more importantly to yourself. That message says, what I want doesn't matter as much. What I need can be changed. As long as he stays, I'll adapt. And the truth is, men notice when your standards aren't firm. They might not consciously realize every time you compromise, but they feel the change. The lack of boundaries makes them feel less respect, not more. Because while a man might enjoy the ease of a woman who lets everything go, he never truly values her. You see, having standards isn't about being rigid or unbending. It's about having a clear idea of what you will and will not put up with, what fits with your core beliefs, your way of life, and your emotional security. Boundaries, on the other hand, are about protecting yourself. They aren't punishments, they are acts of self-respect. When you ignore those two things, you end up letting yourself down just to stay connected to someone who might not even be giving you the very basics. And that slowly chips away at your inner peace. You become worried, you doubt yourself, you wonder, am I asking for too much? When really, you're not asking for enough. Many women disregard their boundaries because they're afraid of being alone, afraid of pushing a man away, afraid that if they take a stand, he'll leave. But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. If a man leaves because you set a boundary, he was never meant to be there. Men don't leave because you have expectations. High-quality men respect standards. They rise to meet them. And the ones who don't, you're better off letting them walk away than building a relationship on quiet compromise, self-sacrifice, and bitterness. The most captivating women are the ones who calmly, clearly, and consistently stand firm on what they believe in. They don't shout, they don't beg, they don't explain themselves over and over. They simply state what they are open to and what they are not. And if someone can't meet them there, they gracefully move on. No drama, just honoring themselves. When you have strong expectations and clear boundaries, you send out a very specific signal. I am not available for anything less than what I deserve. And that energy doesn't push men away, it sorts them. It protects your personal space. It stops you from wasting time on people who were never able to truly connect with you where you are. And the best part, when you do connect with a man who respects those boundaries, you won't have to pretend. You won't have to fight to be seen. You won't have to accept tiny gestures and call it love, because the right man will see your boundaries not as barriers, but as invitations. And he'll want to join you, be the person deserving of experiencing those things. So, stop ignoring that quiet feeling inside you that tells you something just isn't quite right. Stop quieting down what you truly want just to hang on to a possibility. Because when you truly respect your own limits, you stop bringing in people who challenge them and instead start attracting those who truly honor them. If you've gotten this far, I want you to take a deep breath, as this is the moment everything transforms. This is where you stop giving your strength away and begin taking it back. Let's be honest, many of us were never truly shown what it means to appreciate ourselves in romantic connections. We were taught to be pleasant, to be selected, to be adequate for someone else. Somewhere along the way, we started believing that affection had to be earned through effort, flawlessness, or giving up our own needs. But genuine connection, healthy connection, doesn't demand that you abandon who you are. It doesn't ask you to shrink, pursue, prove, or constantly try to please. It asks you to show up as your complete self, boldly, truly, with your gentle side and your strong side, your expectations and your heart wide open but also protected with good sense. Taking back your strength isn't about playing tricks or acting distant. It's about recognizing your true value without any apologies. It's understanding that your worth doesn't go up or down based on how another person treats you. It's steady, it's deep-rooted, and it begins and ends with how you treat yourself. You don't have to overgive to be loved. You don't need constant reassurance to feel safe. You don't need to make your entire world revolve around someone to keep their interest. And you should never, ever lower your expectations just to avoid being by yourself. You are allowed to occupy your space, to decline, to desire more, to step away when your inner calm is disturbed. That isn't being too much. That's being truly aware of yourself. The moment you stop betraying yourself for the sake of affection is the moment you become truly attractive to it. Because here's the little known fact. Confident, self-assured people don't chase after partnerships. They draw them in. Not by being perfect, but by being in harmony with themselves. They do the internal work. They heal their past hurts. They pay attention to recurring situations. They don't remain stuck in patterns that drain their energy. They consistently choose themselves time and time again until the world around them mirrors that selection. Reclaiming your strength is a choice you make every single day. It's choosing to believe you are valuable, especially on those days when you feel unsure. It's having the bravery to move on from situations that are almost right, knowing that almost will never truly satisfy you. It's holding firm to your boundaries, even when you're afraid they might push someone away, because you trust that the right individual will remain and will rise to meet you. It's not always simple. Sometimes taking back your strength looks like sitting in quiet contemplation when you really want to send that message. Sometimes it looks like staying at home and taking care of yourself instead of adjusting your plans for someone who only calls at the last minute. Sometimes it means feeling sad about the version of you who believed that connection meant giving absolutely everything away. But on the other side of that sadness is true liberation, freedom from self-doubt, freedom from unhealthy interactions, freedom from repeating the same narrative and calling it affection. And in that liberation, you begin to craft a brand new story, one where you are the central figure, not just a supporting character in someone else's life. One where you don't need to be selected to feel valuable because you have already chosen yourself. So let this serve as your constant reminder. You don't have to keep learning through difficult experiences. You don't have to keep settling, hoping, waiting, or pursuing. You are permitted to ascend, to change, to uphold a new standard, and to do it not from resentment, but from a place of true power. The kind of power that is calm, consistent, and undeniable. You don't have to transform into someone else to be loved. You just have to become the version of yourself that stops compromising. And if no one has gently told you this, you are truly worthy. You are more than enough, and your capacity for connection is a precious offering, not something to be exchanged. So here is your call to action, not just for this moment, but for your entire life. Reclaim your strength every single day, because the world truly needs more individuals who understand who they are, what they truly deserve, and simply refuse to accept anything less. And if you are prepared for that kind of life, please click that like button, leave a comment below saying, "I'm choosing." And don't forget to subscribe, because this is just the beginning. Your inherent strength isn't gone. It has simply been patiently waiting for you to remember who you truly are. Your strength is waiting.